All right, many thanks for staying with me. My takeaway from on this day initial segment today, this was just 33 years ago, and we can't, we haven't, rise or risen and above the situation at hand that left violence and insecurity that has been tearing us apart till date. If I must keep it real as much as I can, it also shows that as a people, there's something fundamentally wrong with us. This is internal issue. It's not some foreign national personnel attacking us. There's no love, and we choose to want to keep harming one another or killing and kidnapping ourselves. So it's just so unfortunate right now that such a thing is still has become a culture. But quickly, let's take a quick break, and when I return, I give okay, quickly, I'm being told that, some of my slides are ready for this shout out. Before we go further, or before we go on a quick break, I would love to pause and celebrate an extraordinary woman, a phenomenal woman, Dr. Mrs. Nkechi Ari, popularly known as NHN, who is marking a golden jubilee today. At 50, she embodies strength, grace, and the kind of fearless purpose that lights up the path for countless women at large. NHN is not just an advocate for women. She's a fighter, she's a builder, she created a platform whose work has transformed lives across continents. For those who do not know who I'm talking about, who are just being familiar with the person I'm talking about right now, she is the force behind the NHN platform that annually, we go outside the country to empower women and all of that. I know the last 2 years has been Qatar annual summit, and of course NHN platform has been, I think, over 10 years or 10 years now, and in numerous other international gatherings and all, Singapore, name it, and she has elevated many women of caliber. She has opened doors, shifted narrative, made people understand that their pain is for a purposeful future. And for years, she has pulled women together, creating spaces for empowerment, for growth, and global visibility. I must say today that, NHN today, she's somebody that I'm looking for the right word to, to describe her, but really she's an extraordinaire, because when you look at our journey, the purpose, the impact, it's so inspiring. Today I want to say, Dr. NHN, I honor you, your journey, especially your resilience, your voice, your mission. I celebrate you. We celebrate you. Your 50 years of impact, of influence, and God's grace over your life and your family. Many thanks for showing us what possibility looks like. I love you deeply. I just want to say, keep inspiring us, keep living large. If you know NHN, you will know that she's a woman full of so many colors and power, and she wears many hats with people. I love you, NHN. Again, I say congratulations on your 50 years birthday. To the next 50 years, because we're here together to actually paint the town red. Come on, man. In my husband's voice, Ruby will say this has implication. Truly, this has implication, even though I know you are trying to dodge, a party for us, but we must actually gather together and celebrate a wonderful person that you are. On this note, I think it's important for us to get a quick message from my sponsors. When I return, I will dive straight to the issue. Please stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. When President Trump called for an end to the targeting of Christians by extremists earlier this week, he ignited a flurry of concerns in Nigeria, in parts that I feel driven by the government's need to push back and try to cover up the situation. President Trump, redesignated Nigeria as a country of particular concern for religious freedom and threatened, military actions, guns a-blazing, if the killings of Christians continues. And the Tinubu administration rejected the claim, stating Nigeria is a secular, multi-religious democracy with constitutional guarantees for all faiths. It argues that insecurity stems from terrorism and social economic factors, not state-sponsored persecution. Presidential aide Daniel Bwala, stated Nigeria would welcome U.S. technical support and equipment to fight terrorism, but only if it respects national sovereignty and territorial integrity, stressing the level of insecurity in the country. Armed men have killed a teacher and adopted at least 25 students in an attack on a girls' secondary school in northwestern Nigeria just 2 days ago, as the news confirmed yesterday. So on the live show today, I will discuss the national security, the context of Christian genocide, and of course the foreign intervention and matters at stake in terms of all factors that surrounds us all in our country, Nigeria. But before we delve into Real Talk with my guest, I think it's important for us to play my guest profile. And when I return, we'll be hearing from him. Please stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with us. Let me use this opportunity to quickly usher in my guest, Ambassador Joe Keshi, OON. It's a pleasure to have you on Real Talk with Kike today. Many thanks for constantly honoring my invitation under a short notice. It means so much to me. How are you doing today, sir?
Very well, thank you. And you?
I'm very well, thank you. Many thanks for asking. So let's just dive straight to the issue at hand, because President Trump has designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern, alleging a Christian genocide. The Nigerian government calls this a dangerous fabrication, given this stark contradiction. Sir, what is the the single most veritable piece of evidence that proves or disproves this state-sponsored religious persecution claim? And the reason why I'm asking this question is because this is a situation that some analysts are seeing in the form of help from the U.S. to help us conquer insecurity once and for all, because it has become a culture in our country. Let's keep it real as much as we can. Why do we want to attach sentiment or religiosity or ethnic bigotry, to lose such assistance? Genocide is genocide. If insecurity is enabled, I don't know the word to use right now, and terrorism groups are being conquered, is it not a win for us all? What's your take on this thus far?
Kike Lomo, to your question, I always say to people, if you do not open your doors or your windows, the devil will not get into your house. As simple as that. So when a nation has been confronted with the kind of situation we find ourselves in terms of insecurity for over 15 years, and you did not see, and it just keep rising, and expanding, and you did not see any serious uh, efforts being made to end it, not to deal with it, but to end it. There are two different things. To end it, you begin to wonder. I mean, you really do not expect people who believe that they are the receiving end. They are the ones suffering. They are the ones they believe they are being persecuted. You, you should certainly not expect them to keep quiet and accept that, should I say, bad treatment or the killings of their people. No. History teaches us that when you push people to the wall, they definitely will fight back in one way or the other. And what you have just said now is that those who feel that greed, those who felt that their community is being ransacked and they blame it on some Muslim fundamentalists or rascals, and that government has not taken enough action to protect them, therefore went outside to seek for help. And that is why you find Nigeria in the kind of unfortunate situation that we find ourselves in today. And for me, I do not often like to get involved in the the argument whether this is emotional. Look, religion is emotional. Tribe is emotional, whether we like to admit it or not. But the truth of the matter is that, yes, in the Christian North, they've gone through a lot. They have suffered a lot over the years. And it's not as if they are killing themselves. They are being killed by some Muslim fundamentalists. So, in fact, they are not even fundamentalists. They are just a bunch of rascals, a bunch of people who are just misruled one way or the other, but who were created by politicians and some Islamic characters. And so this is why we are where we are today. And I'll say to you, even despite the threats, you could see what has happened in the last couple of days. It looks as if the banditry just decided that to hell with the United States, to hell with whatever the Nigerian government says, we are going to continue our battle or whatever we want to do. And look at how many people have been kidnapped, how many people have been killed just in the last 2 or 3 days, which again goes to the point that I've always made. Let us drop this whole argument, whether it is Christians or Muslims. Muslims are being killed. They should not have been killed in the first instance, because the the number one objective of government is the protection of lives and property. And if the government fails to protect you and you are killed, as Christians and Muslims are being killed in the north, it is government must take responsibility for your death. And even in death, some of those who were slaughtered by their colleagues or friends in the university simply because they are, or in the marketplace, simply because they are Christians. As of today, not one single person has received justice. So even in death, the dead has not received justice.
Thanks for your insights right there. But while I understand your perspective, sir, Governor Zulum, recently confirmed that Boko Haram has used a drone to attack a military formation, signaling a dangerous escalation. Giving your own diplomatic experience now, sir, from your own analysis rather, what are the likely international supply chains enabling these people, and what specific diplomatic measures can Nigeria take to disrupt them? Because beyond this condemnation, the attack, what concrete immediate step must the security architecture take to, recalibrate and develop effective counter-drone, capabilities to just protect our troops, critical assets and the likes and all of that. Because however we look at it now, sir, we need to keep it real as much as we can on this platform. You know, the terrorists, the Boko Haram and all of that, they are very tech-driven. What are we doing?
Well, again, Kelomo, I always like to say to Nigerians, do not blame people outside for your problems. Blame yourselves for your problems. If Boko Haram today is using drones, I think the question we should ask ourselves, where did they get those drones from? Who are the sponsors of Boko Haram? How did the drones get into their base? Where did those drones come from? You know, these are the questions. Look, Ikelomo, this crisis in Nigeria is the first crisis anywhere in the world where you cannot identify, or we have not been told who the sponsors are. We have not been told how they get their arms. Every speculation is that, oh, with the collapse of Mohammed Gaddafi, all these arms are coming from Libya. But listen, Nigeria does not have borders with Libya. So how did those arms get all the way past every other country and then came only to be used in Nigeria? The people who started Boko Haram, who were those who sponsored them? Who were those who brought them? Where did they get the money and the resources that 15 years after they have graduated from AK-49 to using drones? For goodness sake, who is paying for it? Everywhere you have had a crisis like this, you can pinpoint those behind it. As of if this was happening in another country, possibly they would have arrested at least a couple of sponsors and put them in trial or jail them or even execute them so as to send a message to the others. But in this country, we have absolutely the people. I'm not talking of the government. The government knows what they are doing. They know the people. But for whatever reason, they do not want to name them. They do not want to arrest them. They do not want to prosecute them. And so we're in a game of deceit, to be frank. We're in a game of deceit. Our soldiers are just being killed anyhow. And it does not occur to the leadership in this country that in a situation like this, you need to attack the sponsors, you need to find them, you need to deal with them as to cut off the live wire of Boko Haram. Boko Haram, look, anytime you see pictures of Boko Haram, you see them with new vehicles, you see them with new motorcycles. Where are they getting all those resources from? Of course, I remember one time a friend of mine who was trying to buy a motorcycle for his office went around the whole of Abuja, and he was told that only 2 days ago, somebody came from the north and took off all the motorcycles in the city of Abuja and all the shops, and they disappeared. Nobody knew where those motorcycles went to. So you can see the complexity of this whole crisis. And only the Nigerian government would, entangle it all. And that's why I have said in other interviews that it's unfortunate when the United States president first declared Nigeria a country of particular concern, that the Nigerian president should have addressed us, should have talked to us, the people of Nigeria, should have told us the truth about this war, whatever he's been briefed since he became president, and should have laid out in very clear terms what he tried to do to end the killings. End the killings, destroy all the camps. See, it's so unfortunate that for 50 years we have allowed non-state actors to occupy spaces in this country. Do you know the impact of that and the cost to the Nigerian economy? It's huge. It's huge.
Many thanks again for that submission right there. But with terrorist groups now deploying advanced tactics, a purely military strategy seems insufficient right now. Because I must ask you, sir, in your view, or your perspective, how should the government fundamentally rebalance its approach to integrate intelligence, address the root causes of this instability like poverty and unemployment, and win the trust of local communities? Because however we look at it, I feel that the local communities, stake now is quite important. This insecurity crisis is unfolding amidst complex international relations, based on even all what I've shared thus far, including, stained ties with the US and comments from other global powers like China and Russia, who have, commented that US shouldn't interfere in a sovereignty state at issue now that as they have been doing in the past. So how should Nigeria now, this will be my second question, how should Nigeria now, navigate this delicate geopolitical, landscape to ensure robust security partnerships with, without, compromising our national sovereignty? What's your take on this before I go on a quick break?
No, you can define national sovereignty in given the globe in which we live in today. This is not like centuries ago when people actually fight to, protect, quote and unquote, their sovereignty. But the truth of the matter is that a country like the United States, over the years, has defined its role in the world. More or less, you could describe the United States as playing the role of a global policeman, For example, China is not ready to play that role, and there's no other country in the world capable or prepared to play that kind of role. But in direct answer to your question, look, again, sorry I have to repeat this. The way out of this is for us in this country to show seriousness in everything we do, okay? One way or the other, we must find a way to end the killings. We must engage Boko Haram as best as we can. And we must, to start with, place a deadline, a date. I've always said that if we want to end this crisis and the Nigerian government is prepared to end it, all it needs to do is to tell the military chiefs they have 3 months, 2 months, or 4 months to make sure that no space in Nigeria is occupied by non-state actors. And then he goes ahead and provides them all the weapons that they need to end that list. We have a lot of generals. We have so many brigadier generals. We have so many colonels. Many of them are doing nothing. I'm not saying that they've not gone to the war front, but listen, if there are 120,000, deploy them throughout this country and flush out the bandits and Boko Haram and all other elements, and make sure that in 3 months' time, no space is occupied by non-state actors. In some countries, they have done it. Some have even some countries decided that, look, the way to fight crime was look for all the criminals, no need to take them to court, just execute everybody, and the country with no peace. But where we are treating these issues with kid gloves, and at the time in which we are all discussing insecurity and American intervention, some idiots decided to escalate it. They killed a brigadier general. They killed some members of the people. They abducted people. They abducted school children again. And you think the world is not watching. The world is watching. And the world is hearing this news. Again, confirming their fears about instability in Nigeria. So it's not a question of whether the world wants to help us. No. The world will first of all want to see your commitment, your seriousness to deal with the situation. Then they will come to help you. But where they do not see that seriousness, they do not see that commitment and trust. Because remember that they had come in here before and they left because they felt, there was no, that it was difficult to trust the people they were dealing with. Remember that Jonathan brought some mercenaries to, mercenaries from South Africa to deal with Boko Haram. And at the point of finishing the whole thing, again, something went wrong. They were asked to leave. Here we are, how many years? More than 10 or 15 years later. We are back to square one. So we just must decide. Yeah, you talked about unemployment, and so yeah, that's another part of the argument. Unemployment is simply two things. Number one, we are not producing enough. We do not have enough industries. Today, I hear everybody say, oh, we are doing well. The economy is recovering, this and that and so on. Yes, the economy is recovering, no doubt, because of what the current government is doing. But for it to be sustainable, we need to become a productive nation. Remember, this is not the first time. And I hear all these claims. Remember that even under Abacha, he stabilized the economy. General Obasanjo, Chief Obasanjo came. For the 8 years he was in power, the economy was doing well. Started doing well after the first 4 years. Jonathan left this country, I think, about 6.5 in terms of economic growth. So we've had some good runs. But then those were some peaceful times as well. But we must understand that if we do not become a productive nation, and it's not just one city becoming productive, all parts of the country must become productive. Today, the resources we are using to run this country is from one section of the country. Every part of Nigeria must contribute to Nigeria's development. And that is why it is important. While we are building bridges, while we are building roads, we must also build industries. We must become a nation that manufactures, and not just highways and what do they call them? Flyovers. And then we are congratulated and everybody says, oh, it's a great governor, it's a great government. And at the same time, nothing is being done in education. Nothing is being done in health. So governments throughout the nation must come together and realize that there's a need for collective effort to solve the current insecurity, and everybody has a role to play.
Right, many thanks for all your submission thus far. We'll go on a quick break now to get a word from my sponsors. When I return, the conversation will continue. Please stay with me. I'll be right back. This is Real Talk with Kike. All right, many thanks for staying with me. In case you just joined today's show, today's conversation is about the alarming international dimensions of Nigerians' security crisis, from Trump's interventions threats, or I don't know if I say interventionist threats, to the shifting global alliances. But now I must turn our gaze inward. In this half conversation, I will ask why all of this is happening despite countless promises. Our children are not safe in their schools, and our communities remain under siege. I would explore other perspective in terms of the genuineness of the political landscape, with how we can dismantle the economic economic of terrorism and address the root causes of this violence. I will throw a lot of light on that in the second segment of the show. Or will I also say we will actually, go into how we can, trap in a circle of condemnation and inaction of individuals as the conversation continues. But I want to say many thanks to my guest today, Ambassador Keshi, OON, a Pioneer Director General, Brace Commission. Many thanks, sir, for all that you have shared thus far, for lending your voice, on issues that affect us all. But quickly, let me use this medium to open the phone lines. For those who are watching me across the states, remember that you can call the number that is showing on your screen right now. And of course, we're streaming live on Facebook, both on Real Talk with Kike platform and on Silverbird platform. Again, many thanks, sir, for all that you have shared. But sir, Let me come to you regarding your expertise, your experience, because you are a former ambassador. You understand how diplomatic relations work from a, from a more structured and insightful perspective. So the CPC, the designation can lead to sanctions and restricted corporations. Now I'm trying to tailor my thoughts together. Beyond the strong statements, what concrete high-level diplomatic strategies is the Tinubu administration employing to reverse these designations and repair in terms of the critical relationship between United States and ourselves? Because in response to all that has been happening right now, and Kebbi State, that has just entered another strategic partnership with a Chinese security firm, G Safety or so, for intelligence and surveillance technology. Is this a pragmatic model for other states, or does this signal a troubling pivot towards external security dependencies outside the traditional Western allies? What's your take on this thus far?
Well, you know, two things I'll say very quickly. Number one, we do not live in a world of isolation. We are part of the global community. And today, unlike in the 60s or the 70s, for example, during the Nigerian Civil War, the British, more or less the British, and to some extent, well, because the British and the Americans were on one side, the British, for example, who are colonial masters, and remember that the Civil War took place less than 6 years or 7 years after independence. So the British had a lot to say about Nigeria. During the Civil War, at the start of the Civil War, Nigeria wanted to buy armament from the British. The British obviously were not ready to sell. They had their conditions, and so I'm not even sure by then we had built a strong relationship with the United States. We were just getting to know one another. And so what did we do? We went straight to the Russians and bought everything we needed to fight the Civil War, including the MiG jets. Okay? But look, the situation has changed today. All over the world, there are countries who produce first-class armaments. First-class armaments, so that if that's what you want to, any country, you don't have to, if the United States says they will not sell to you, or the British says they will not sell to you, or the Russians say they will not sell to you, there are other countries that can produce the same, type of equipment that you want. All you just have to do is, if you have the money, you pay for it. But look, let me veer a little, again, to tell you what we have done to ourselves in this country. Many years ago, almost about the same time, about 4 or 5 countries established an arms factory. We have one in Kaduna called Daikon. At the same time that Daikon was established, the Pakistanians did the same thing. The Indians did the same thing. The Brazilians did the same thing. Today, Pakistan is a nuclear power. India is a nuclear power. Brazil is most of the flights we have, most of the planes we use today in Nigeria are produced from Brazil. Turkey has become a global player in the arms industry. The same time that all these factories were established, the same with the Nigerian industry, I'm not sure what we are producing today. A few years ago, under General Olusegun Obasanjo, who visited the place as president, he was shocked and disappointed to know that one of the things that I think that administration, the military administration, established about the same time that other countries were established theirs, all other ones have become strong in terms of using technology, and the Nigerian own was virtually non-existent. The point I'm trying to make, again, is the fact that today we are talking of full cooperation, who is going to sell arms for us and so on, when our own armed industry was virtually abandoned or destroyed by those who had the responsibility to make it flourish. So here we are back to square one like we were before. But it's not a question of just buying arms or buying equipment. It's not a question of whether the world will cooperate with you. No. The world, first of all, wants to trust you. Your genuinity, your sincerity that you are prepared to end the killings in your country. You know, we say this in foreign policy, that foreign policy is an extension of domestic policy. So it's a policy that you execute at home or that you put in place at home. That's the kind of policy you also take that the international community does recognize and decide to engage you. So we can engage the United States if we take a couple of steps that are necessary to end this war. We can ask for intelligence sharing, for sure. They'll be prepared to, but on the condition that they can trust you. Trust is very important in this game. Nobody is going to give you an information and you abuse it or you misuse it. In fact, when I have been reading a couple of things about the death of the brigadier, and there are questions about how the people got to know where he was because there are so many communications. How did he leak out for them to find him and execute him? True, of course, we don't know the details, but these are things that you find on social media, WhatsApp messages, and the rest of them about the death of the, So we can, we also can look at what can we offer the United States as of today. The United States is also a country that needs help here and there. What can we do to help the United States? That's a question for the government. They can figure out that. And I just think that, look, there are a couple of ways we can go to the United. Look, when you are going for negotiations, you are not just going to, like when we address the Almighty God. Every time we talk to God, we do nothing but demand. Lord, give me this. Lord, give me that. Lord, end this. Lord, cure me. No. In international relations, you don't just go and keep getting and nothing in return. You must figure out and ask yourself the question, what can I offer the United States to be able to build a very strong relationship and help to end the crisis, the insecurity crisis we face in Nigeria?
I love the angle, your perspective in terms of value now, because this conversation is coming from what can we do to help the United States in terms of the value we are bringing on the table. But the federal government has stated that they would welcome the U.S. military in terms of assistance to provide or provided if they respect Nigerians' territorial sovereignty. But where should the line be drawn now between accepting the vital foreign help and protecting the national sovereignty from being compromised? Because some are making references to Libya and African states that U.S. has destroyed economically because of this enemy, Gaddafi, at the time. And with all that you have shared thus far, I know one of the statements that you made earlier, you emphasized that it's not about we seeking help outside, it's internal. It's how we can resolve most of the challenges that we have found ourselves in. But in recruiting all this criticism, and the government's failure to protect lives and property, which erodes, public trust, is the core issue not a foreign conspiracy, if I'm to ask? But when we look at it from another perspective, I feel there is a profound, failure of the domestic, governance and a lack of political will to secure the lives of all Nigerians, irrespective of their faith. What's your take thus far when you are looking at it from different perspectives when it comes to ethnicity, religion, and of course, as a whole, a country like Nigeria. What's your take on this quickly, sir? This will be my last question to you.
It's part of our intellectual laziness, as I like to call it. When we come up with, conspiracies. As an individual, I don't like conspiracy theories, and I've never subscribed to them. Look, nobody, I say it clearly, nobody in this world today, no country in this world wants to destroy Nigeria, or because they want to side one side, or either religion or one tribe or the other. No. Anywhere you go in this world, the world as a whole has one complaint against Nigeria. The world as a whole has one complaint against Nigeria. And that is the fact that they see and meet a lot of Nigerians, and they regard Nigerians as great people, intellectually sound, contributing one way or the other to global development. But when you look at the country itself, it's a different story. Look, when people compare and say, oh, America destroyed Gaddafi, no, we are not in the same situation with Gaddafi at all, completely. They had reasons why they did what they did in Gaddafi, and it goes way back to Gaddafi's own fights somewhere along the line in support of the situation in the Middle East and that kind of thing. So we are not in the class of Libya under Gaddafi at all. Okay? Look, our problem is our own internal contradiction, and we must resolve it. The external forces cannot resolve it for us. It is we who have to decide ourselves. It is we who have to come together and decide that enough is enough. It is we, led by the leadership of the country, who must provide that roadmap. When you look at the Nigerian Constitution, as imperfect as so many people think that Constitution is, the truth of the matter is that if as imperfect as it is,
unfortunately, sir, I have to interrupt your thought process. Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me, sir? We've run out of time. But before I let you go, there's the last segment of the show that we call, My Take. It's called Trending before, but I've changed it to My Take because of my own editorial point of view with it. But quickly, sir, again, many thanks for all that you have shared thus far. And my first take on what has caught many Nigerians' attention, even outside the country, is the former president Obasanjo and Fayoshe's post-birthday face-off. And this one, this scenario exposes so many lessons that I believe that we all can pick a cue from, or some lessons from, because the purpose of a celebration is about one's age, one's growth and achievement in life, and this should be celebrated with love and appreciation. Not everyone needs to be at your function. I keep emphasizing on this, but quite a number of people have not gotten it yet, because the goal should be about this, for you to celebrate with genuine people, genuine relationships, people who genuinely loves you, who truly loves and cares for you in the room, not just you getting guest lists for clout or to project a certain image. You should be able to enjoy your day without looking over your shoulder, wondering about some other people's motive or some energy that could be coming from certain corners and all of that. People are always seeking clout, trying to impress people who do not even care about you, who don't even take, I'm trying to control my thought process right here, but the world just cares about things that are not meaningful. So, just for you to have, certain people at your gathering, you want to just go beyond just, getting attendance with people that you do not have a relationship with. This is something that I feel that we must take a cue from. Why chase clouds? Secondly, before me losing my thought process, is the fact that former Governor Fayoshe and our former President Obasanjo, have a well-documented history over the years. if that relationship is broken, why force it on a day that is supposed to be a significant day for you? Like, when you are supposed to be struggling to get your mother and your siblings to your gathering, you don't need to invite a non-family member with whom you have an ugly past to play certain role at your function. You know, on such a day, if you cannot even invite your family members, you know, I feel like, why do people have high expectations about people that truly do not care about you? So to set the difference aside with all that I'm saying, I feel that it is crucial that we must expect that the elders in the situation that we found ourselves, you know, are bigger than whatever thought process you think that you want them to tailor to, you know, regardless of whatever decorum. But, you know, with all that has happened thus far, we have seen how, you know, former Governor Fayoshe's families, especially his brother, you know, Isaac, you know, has come out to say so many things. Listen, I must put it out there. Families have issues. All families, there's no perfection in any family. Do not let anybody lie to you. So it's just normal that people have issues in their own families, but airing it on social media is another different thing for me, and I feel that because of that, I don't think there's going to be any resolution thus far. So I just feel that with this, you know, we must understand that former Governor Fayoshe and his blood relations, you know, have to sit down to look for how to you know, redeem their relationship and perfect it one way or the other in a way that it can be managed. It could be, it could be, you know, it's significant for us to understand that on a day like this, it needs people like them in attendance, even for civility purposes and the likes and all of that. Thirdly, is the fact that a leopard cannot change its spots. However, we look at it. At OBJ's age and stature, he can say anything that he wants. That's because he has the capacity to do so. I need to keep it real as much as I can. He can't be mighty in words. You don't invite him as a dignitary to come as a with the kind of figure that he is, and give him and try to, you know, teleguide him on how he should speak. He spoke based on their past, and that's who OBJ is. However, in such public setting, my perspective, a more diplomatic approach from both parties would have been ideal for OBJ, you know, to praise the wife after correcting the wife and the role that the wife has played in terms of, you know, vital certain issues that have transpired in the past, you know, mending and upholding bridges. Many men underrate and underestimate their role in terms of their spouses. A spouse especially should help balance their partners as they are a reflection of one another. So Fayoshe, however, has not attained that untouchable status. I want to keep it real as much as I can. That Obasanjo, you know, cannot say whatever he wants to say. There's a Yoruba adage that also says that Agbamuche-Mbu, and this means that age does not automatically translate to wisdom. It's the saying that our leaders have become thoughts in their words. I'm sorry, I just have to keep it real. Despite it all, I wish former Governor Fayoshe a happy 65th birthday. To Baba Obasanjo, a leader who I hold in high esteem. He will always remain in a position of elder in our country. There is no point in exchanging words with his political child, Ayo Fayoshe, because he remains a child to him. You know, Obasanjo remains an icon of dignity, you know, a formidable international representative of Nigeria. So I'm wondering, why on let me bring back my emotion. This is why I just feel that, you know, God, I need to tell all my thoughts right now and not say more, because the thoughts that is coming to me right now, I just feel that one will continually question, you know, why, you know, former Governor Ayo Fayoshe actually went the way he went. It's very distasteful for an elder person that we expect him. Unfortunately, I wish I could come to my guests to get a thought process on the perspective on the issue at hand. But I just want to say many thanks, Ambassador Keshi, OON, for all your take thus far, and for lending your voice on issues that affect us all. I wish you the very best as you continue to navigate the waters of our country. I wish you the very best, the wisdom to continue to navigate your own family front and different characters around you, and we wish you the very best in terms of longevity in sparkling of health. Thank you so much for always honoring my invite. On this note, this is where I draw the curtains of the show. Till I come your way on Thursday, remember to catch me on the Spiritual FM tomorrow at 5 p.m. Your guys have something. Bye now. My name is Atanda-Owo.